As part of promoting any book, I've been fortunate to tour almost all the libraries in northeast Nebraska as well as many libraries in other states. I have made several observations that are concerning regarding these depositories of written materials. In the time before the internet and the electronic media, our founding fathers had the foresight to build a place where a copy of every book written could be housed. This concept is marvelous and comforting, to have a centralized place where all the written, diverse ideas could be found. I hope there will always be a place like a library, regardless of what technology brings as an alternative. As our country grew, certain benefactors like Carnegie Mellon and Rockefeller realized the value of this concept and endowed towns throughout rural America with the money to build libraries that still exist today. The concern I have is there are fewer and fewer books found in these libraries designed to bring success to businesses, show the latest scientific findings, or the management of ideas that deal with social, economic, or political problems. Instead, they're becoming depositories of fiction, video, music, and games that entertain, giving an escape from the problems of the world. Little attention is given to helping citizens become more self-reliant and prosperous through the learning which is necessary to make the world a better place for themselves and the next generation. The average attendee at most libraries is becoming younger each year, with libraries becoming one step above a daycare center, amusing kids and young adults until their parents gather them up or until they must go home from after school. Regardless, there is little learning going on in these libraries anymore, with their function more for entertainment. Certain libraries even apologize for not having books dealing with business or science or government. Library directors say there's no demand for these sorts of information anymore, and they do not carry them to save expenses since they're not used. This is an extension of the symptom found in schools, with the demand that educators raise the percentage of graduates each year. They do this not by teaching them what they must know, but by trying to keep them in school by entertaining them so they won't quit. This is not the educator's fault. This is the fault of the parents that tolerate this dysfunctionality to exist in the first place. In any sales training course, it is taught to listen and always give the client what they want, not what they need. This makes about as much sense of having the prisoners run the jail in the case of schools. Libraries and schools are becoming salespeople. They are providing only the things the kids want, not what they need. This thought process infected the entire generation, with the parents reluctant to give tough love, always doing what they can to minimize any pain, suffering, or delayed gratification. This results in millennials who are feeling entitled, dependent, and helpless when they have to deal with problems of the world, making a living so that they do not become a burden on their family or society. Regardless of the reason, real libraries are becoming antiques, with fewer reference books and self-help information available. The internet cannot replace this, as the very validity of the electronic media information is becoming very questionable. Libraries are becoming a depository for fantasy, providing an escape from reality, with nothing of substance acquired other than some possible improvements in reading skills. But even that is debatable, because with the audiovisual information it is not necessary to be able to read or write. Society cannot allow the next generation to remain ignorant. The hunger for knowledge no longer has any appeal for the future generations, and seems doomed that fewer and fewer people are going to be able to think for themselves, or be self-sufficient, or be able to deal with the problems that happen in life. This is evidenced by the infection of the political correctness, situational ethics, and the lack of accountability we find throughout our country. Schools must acknowledge and teach there is no escape from reality, nor is there any shortcut that allows illiteracy to be acceptable. This explains the drug culture, alcoholism, and the increased dependence on social welfare. The only reason for libraries and schools and lifelong learning centers is for them to exist in the first place is to prepare the next generation to deal with life by being able to solve problems and not continually teach that there are ways to avoid reality in life. They must be able to live without complete dependence on batteries and electricity. This is Keith Kube, wishing you the best in making the world a better place.